On this video, I would like to help you play the song Holy by Justin Bieber. And let's start with the right hand. So a couple of things. I have the shot transposed. So all of the notes that I'm playing should actually play an octave down to the left. But I'm doing that so my camera setup doesn't move, which is a lot, of course, easier to do it that way. So let's start with right hand. I would say 1 and 3 fingers on G flat and B flat. Followed by F, A flat, and D flat with fingers 1, 2, and 5. And then 1, 2, and 5 with E flat, G flat, D flat, followed by 1 and 2 on E flat and G flat. And I will probably practice just the right hand. It's important that this is anticipated for the second chord. So it's a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm using a sustain pedal, which I think makes everything a lot easier for this one. So I'm pretty much using it so I can almost let go of the note, keep it ringing, and get ready for the next position. So then I just let go of the pedal and of course hold the next chord. So I'll do that slowly again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the numbers are there, I think, are fairly important because if not, it's going to be a little bit harder to play. Now, when it comes to the left, it's going to be G flat and D flat. I would suggest 1 and 5, followed by F and D flat. That's going to be also 5 and 1. Then you move a little bit to the left to do E flat and D flat. Sorry, E flat and B flat. And followed by, technically, this note, which we need to call it correctly here, will be a C flat. So if I just do left hand, it will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That repeats multiple times. After that, we're going to leave a whole bar of not playing. And then there's the singing there. After that, you're gonna leave a whole bar of not playing. That's a whole bar of rest, and you're gonna after that do D flat and A flat on the left hand with a C flat on the right hand, which will be E flat, G flat, and C flat. So that sounds like this. And that's done. It's a little bit, I would say, like almost gospel influence. It's almost like a little bit harder on the volume and short. So D flat and A flat, and then the other 3 keys. I would suggest for the right hand 1, 2, and 5. Especially if you're younger, it's going to be a little bit easier to reach. So that is the bulk of the beginning, and then we play something that is very similar with a couple of additions, but those are the chords. Now, I wouldn't suggest going forward until like you can really move through the chords without making mistakes. And of course, it's always a good idea to just practice hands separate with a metronome and then start putting them together slowly. Now, when it comes to how it changes, so just a little play on the chords. So G flat and B flat, then G flat and B flat and D flat, F and A flat, and then F, A flat, and D flat. And the rhythm for that will be 1. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that there, I would suggest similar numbers than before: 1 and 3, 1, 3, and 5, 1 and 2. And 1, 2, and 5. So once you have that, the next one, I hope is not too far of a stretch if you're a little bit younger, but it's E flat, G flat, and D flat twice. And then into this one, which plays also twice. So that maybe you can even practice just that twice, changing to that one. So E flat, G flat, and D flat, followed by E flat, G flat, and C flat. And that one also goes twice. So if I put a little bit of a metronome here so you guys can hear how it changes. That is how that second part goes after you're doing the chord that is a suspension, which is the one that we did right before this. So I would absolutely suggest, slow down the metronome and almost try to probably do the right hand by itself. Now, the addition to that is that the second time, you don't play the second time this chord. So it's almost like taking it out because there's like a little bit of a stop, and then I guess the singing resumes with, I think it's just drums and bass. So there, on the left, I also think it's a matter of doing it slowly, especially if you never played this many black keys. But it's going to be G flat and D flat, F and then D flat, then E flat and B flat twice, and then C flat, followed by another C flat. So that sounds like this. So practice those sections slowly. If you need to, probably a good advice would be to just do the left hand by itself. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on until like it gets very, very clear. With that, I think that's the bulk of the song. There's a little detail that I want to show you as well. There's a part that the chords play again as a block. I believe that's in the second verse. But it's pretty much always the same. There's a little detail, a little run here, which it's on this part. So that it's a D flat, E flat, and G flat, and you need to do that very quickly because we're going back down. So I would suggest probably fingers 2, 3, and 5. So you have the space to be able to jump to the next little section. I think it does it every other time. But it's a little cool little run there that almost embellishes a little bit. It sounds cool. And with all that, definitely practice it slowly. Practice it with the recording. And keep in mind, I think in songs like this, there's a lot of moments that you play, but there's some moments that you don't play. So it's important to almost follow the singer and know the structure, so that way you can know when to play and when to drop out. If you want more information about us, or if you would like to take some lessons directly with me, definitely visit us at thehitmusicstudio.com. And also remember that we have a free absolute beginner piano course that you can see there on the link for the description of this video. We'll see you soon.